morning. I'm packing up to leave. Haven't had my rocket fuel yet, but I'm going to get on that right after I finish packing up. And then I'm heading down the road, heading back home to Raleigh. It's 11:30. I'm getting on the road finally. And I'm leaving the little community where I grew up, which is really pretty. It's called Seven Lakes. It's actually more than Seven Lakes now, but it's called Seven Lakes, and it was a really great place to grow up. When my parents bought their house in this place called Seven Lakes, this lake called Lake Sequoia was just a gigantic hole in the ground, and now it has come a long way. This is one of the smaller lakes. We used to fish in this lake, and there was a guy across the way who would feed the fish, and they would get gigantic. God knows how big they are now. This area up here is was the sports center. We have tennis courts, basketball courts, the swimming pools up here, which I would have gone swimming today, but my parents never got a swimming pool pass, just because they don't ever come up to this pool, but they're going to get one for next time I come down. This is the game room, and this was where all the young kids came and played video games and pool and ping pong back in the day. I don't know if they still do, but I assume they do. And that right through that building is the swimming pool. Fortunately, I can't get into it right now. Logged many hours at this area up here and in this swimming pool and in these lakes. But like I said, it was a great place to grow up. All my friends lived here, and these roads we could ride our bicycles on. A good friend of mine had a golf cart, and she would come pick us up. But yeah, it's a really nice place. Ever since I was about 15 or 16, I started working on this golf course over here. Yeah, I worked on this golf course up through college. On the summers, I'd come home and work on the golf course. Yeah, I really spent a lot of time over on this golf course working. Had to be up at 6 o'clock, mow the grass, and be done by 2:30. And just mowed a lot of grass. That's why I don't even mow grass anymore, just because I've mowed enough grass for 2 or 3 lifetimes. So right through these trees is the clubhouse that we would meet up at every morning before we went out to handle whatever business we needed to handle on the golf course. Not much has changed in the 25 years since I've been here. Yeah, it's probably longer than 25 years, but anyway, still a pretty place. My first entrepreneurial venture took place right there on that hole. That's a tee. It's not a hole, it's a tee. We sold drinks to the golfers on that spot right there when I was about 14, maybe 15. So I made it back to Raleigh. It's really a pretty day. Probably going to spend it in a movie theater. Might go see a movie. Not sure yet. Parking lot was jammed up, so I had to park a long way from the movie theater and all that way. I just saw Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, and the reviews weren't that good, so my expectations were kind of low, but it's really funny, and I laughed until I cried a couple of times in that movie. So it's really funny. Go see it. Magazine finally hit the stands. This is the cover of it. Should be out until the end of August. So if you're in Raleigh, please pick it up and support the magazine. Thank you. So I had a good weekend, visited the family. I am going to shut it down for now. I'm going to have a little bit of scotch. Gonna watch a little bit of TV and then call it a night. Tomorrow's a busy day. I get the kid back tomorrow, and I also have a bunch of stuff to do. It's going to be a really busy week for the Scan Candy. Our magazine's out on the rack now, so that should be good. But I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.